Okay, so, we were talking about self-discovery,
Yeah.
and you shared some really interesting sources,
Hmm.
especially about RuPaul's idea that everyone should try drag to see what emerges.
Mm.
I mean, it's a bold statement, right?
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah.
And I think it's so interesting how he frames drag not just as this superficial thing, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, not just costumes and performance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's more about using it as a tool to discover yourself and to empower yourself.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to be kind of looking at in this deep dive.
Yeah,
It's
that's it.
not about putting on makeup. It's about uncovering these deeper layers of yourself and how you can express yourself and how you can feel more powerful.
Exactly. And I think that's something that everyone can relate to,
Yeah.
even if you're not into drag.
Yeah.
We all have these different sides to ourselves,
Hmm.
these different masks that we wear. And this deep dive is really about exploring those masks and seeing how they can actually be sources of strength for us.
And how facing challenges head on can actually help us grow and transform in really amazing ways.
Yeah. And that's something that RuPaul talks a lot about.
Yeah.
He's been through a lot of challenges in his life,
Hmm.
and he's always come out stronger on the other side.
Yeah, so it makes you think, right? Like, we all play these different roles depending on, where we are or who we're with.
Definitely.
But instead of thinking of that as hiding who we really are, what if those masks or personas
Hmm.
could actually help us unlock new parts of ourselves?
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful idea.
I
And it's something that RuPaul really embodies.
Mm-hmm.
He's not afraid to be different. He's not afraid to stand out.
To challenge the norms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of his power comes from.
Yeah, and it's interesting how he uses drag to kind of challenge those stereotypes.
Certainly.
Like he came from this punk rock background, and his early drag was all about shocking people.
Right. Especially during that really conservative Reagan era.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a total rebellion against the status quo.
And, it kind of makes you think, like, could that rebellious spirit,
Yeah.
that willingness to push boundaries,
Hmm.
could that be a catalyst for self-discovery?
I think it absolutely can.
Yeah.
Because it forces you to question everything.
Yeah.
Why do we do things the way we do them?
Right.
What are the rules and who made them?
And are they even rules that we want to follow?
Exactly.
Right.
It's about breaking free from those limitations.
Yeah, and then finding your own path.
Right. And I think that's what RuPaul has done so brilliantly.
Yeah.
He's created his own world, his own set of rules.
His own empire, really.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's inspiring.
It really is.
Yeah.
But, not everyone is naturally rebellious.
Yeah.
So how can we kind of cultivate that self-discovery?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with curiosity.
Just being willing to explore different facets of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be like super out there.
Right.
Or like shocking people.
Right.
It's more about just being open to new experiences,
Sure.
new ideas,
Yeah.
new ways of thinking.
So just kind of stepping outside that box,
Exactly.
which you're used to being in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just seeing what's out there.
Right. And I think someone like Leonardo da Vinci is a great example of that.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, he's known for his incredible art.
Yeah.
But he wasn't just painting pretty pictures.
Right.
He was dissecting bodies
Wow.
to understand anatomy.
Wow.
He was studying nature in detail.
So curious.
Yeah.
About everything.
He was so curious about the world,
Yeah.
and he used those observations to create his groundbreaking art.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's about taking that deep dive
Yeah.
literally or figuratively.
Exactly.
And exploring the essence of things,
Mm.
whether it's ourselves or the world around us. Right. And that's where this idea of personas as power comes in.
Okay.
Those masks that we wear, those
Mhm.
roles that we play,
Mm-hmm.
they can be more than just disguises.
Oh, interesting.
They can actually be tools to help us achieve our goals and navigate tricky situations.
So instead of being fake, it's more about being strategic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about using different sides of yourself to connect with people,
Yeah.
to achieve your goals, to
Yeah.
make a difference in the world.
Yeah, and I think that ties back to something that my FYI for your improvement source talks about.
Yeah.
This idea of conflict management
Mm-hmm.
and how being adaptable
Yeah.
and understanding how to manage disagreements effectively
Mm-hmm.
can really be a superpower.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it even mentions this concept of Aikido.
What is that?
Well, it's this martial art where
Yeah.
you use your opponent's energy against them.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of directly resisting it.
Right.
So it's about finding ways to de-escalate and work towards a resolution that works for everyone involved.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a really powerful approach.
Yeah.
And I think it can be applied to so many different areas of life.
Oh, definitely, like work and relationships and everything.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really fascinating.
Mhm.
So it's almost like becoming a chameleon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Adapting to different environments and situations
Mm-hmm.
by using the right mask or persona.
Exactly.
But, isn't there a risk of losing yourself in those roles?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And it's something we should definitely talk more about
Yeah.
because it's important to find that balance between being adaptable
Right.
and staying true to
Yeah,
yourself.
to your authentic self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think before we get into those potential pitfalls,
Yeah.
let's stick with this idea of personas as a tool for navigating challenges.
Okay.
Think about a musician like John Coltrane.
Oh, yeah.
He was heavily inspired by Charlie Parker's style, but he didn't just copy him. Right.
He used that inspiration to develop his own unique voice
Yeah.
and revolutionize jazz music.
Wow. So it's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
taking inspiration from others,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately using those influences to shape your own path
Exactly.
and express your authentic self.
Right.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful process.
It is.
Yeah,
And it's something that we can all strive for,
definitely.
in all areas of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we know when a mask is helping us
Yeah.
and when it might be holding us back?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
It's something that we all struggle with,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's something that we'll definitely delve deeper into.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. But for now, let's talk about how to navigate those challenges. Those moments when you feel like you're hitting a wall.
Yeah, like how do we actually overcome those obstacles and come out stronger on the other side?
Well, think of life as a runway, like in a drag competition.
You're going to have your triumphs, you're going to have your stumbles, you're going to have those unexpected obstacles.
Those moments where you trip on your dress.
Exactly. But it's about how you handle those moments.
Yeah.
That really defines you.
So it's about being resilient.
Yeah, resilience is key.
Bouncing back from those setbacks.
Mm-hmm. And preparation.
Oh, yeah. Getting ready for that runway.
Exactly. Your FYI for your improvement guide talks a lot about this.
Does it?
Yeah, especially when it comes to presentations,
Oh, yeah.
It stresses the importance of anticipating questions, thinking through challenges, having a plan to handle them gracefully.
So it's like being ready for those tough questions from the judges.
Exactly.
You need to know your stuff, think on your feet, and present yourself with confidence.
And poise.
Mm.
It's all about that presentation.
It's like that saying, right? Like luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You got to be ready for those moments.
Yeah. But sometimes, even with all the preparation in the world, you hit a wall
Mm-hmm.
and you need to completely reinvent yourself to overcome a challenge.
That's so true.
Like, have you ever experienced that?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What was that like?
Well, it can be scary to let go of something that's familiar,
Yeah.
even if it's not working anymore.
Right?
But sometimes you just got to rip off that Band-Aid and jump into the unknown.
Yeah, take that leap of faith.
Exactly. And, our source material actually highlights this really well with the architect Santiago Calatrava.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about him.
So he started as an artist and architect.
Okay.
But he realized he needed to understand engineering.
To really push the boundaries?
Yeah, to really create the structures that he envisioned.
Wow.
So he went back to school, studied engineering.
Wow. So he basically started over.
Yeah, he did, and it paid off big time.
That's incredible.
Yeah, he's created some of the most innovative structures in the world.
So it's like he realized his old mask wasn't working anymore, and he needed a new one to achieve his ultimate goal.
Right.
And he was willing to start over, embrace a whole new challenge to reach mastery.
And that's something we can all learn from.
Yeah, that's really inspiring.
It is.
But, starting over can be scary.
Definitely.
Like, how do you know when it's time to make that change?
That's a great question. And I think it's different for everyone,
Mhm.
but I think it often comes down to this feeling of being stuck.
Okay.
Like you're no longer growing.
You're not challenged anymore.
Yeah, and you're not excited about what you're doing.
Yeah, like you've kind of hit a plateau.
Right.
So what would you say to someone who's feeling that way?
I would say it's time to start exploring new possibilities.
Okay.
Start asking yourself some tough questions.
Right.
Like, what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
What do you want to achieve?
Right.
What kind of impact do you want to make on the world?
Those are big questions.
They are, but they're important questions.
Yeah.
And once you start asking those questions, You start to open yourself up to new possibilities.
To new paths.
Exactly.
And that can be really exciting.
It can be.
It can also be a little daunting.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
It is.
To live a life that's truly aligned with your values and your passions.
Yeah, but how do you actually do that?
Well, it takes courage.
Mm-hmm.
It takes resilience.
Yeah.
It takes a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone.
So basically, it takes everything we've been talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And it's not always easy.
Right.
There will be challenges along the way.
For sure.
But the rewards are so worth it.
Okay, so you've convinced me to embrace the challenge.
Good.
But how do I actually do it?
Well, it starts with recognizing that you're not alone.
Okay.
We all face challenges.
Yeah.
We all have moments of doubt.
Right.
But the key is to not let those moments define us. It's to remember that we have the power to choose our own path.
To choose our own destiny.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think that's a really empowering message.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's something that RuPaul really embodies.
Mm-hmm.
He's all about self-empowerment.
Yeah.
And taking control of your own life.
But sometimes you need a little help along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No one does it alone.
That's where the power of community comes in.
Exactly.
Having that support system.
Yeah, those people who believe in you.
Yeah.
Who encourage you.
Who lift you up.
Who challenge you to be your best self.
Yeah, that's so important.
It is. And, this is something that's really strong in the drag world.
How so?
Well, there's this incredible sense of camaraderie, this willingness to lift each other up.
Yeah.
And this shared understanding of the struggles and triumphs that come with expressing yourself authentically.
It's like a family.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we can all benefit from.
Yeah, for sure.
Having a tribe.
Your people.
Yeah, those people who get you.
Who support you.
Who celebrate your uniqueness.
Yeah. And it reminds me of that RuPaul saying,
What's that?
if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Right. It's all about self-love.
Yeah, and I think that self-acceptance and love often starts within a community.
Definitely.
Group of people who celebrate your uniqueness and support you on your journey.
And your FYI guide actually talks about this too.
Does it?
Yeah, it talks about the importance of teamwork
Okay.
and building a strong foundation for support.
So what does it say about that?
Well, it emphasizes the importance of creating a game plan for the team,
Okay.
inspiring team members, celebrating successes, and fostering a learning attitude towards mistakes.
So it's about creating an environment where everyone feels valued,
Yes.
supported.
And empowered.
Yeah, and that ultimately leads to greater success
Exactly.
for everyone.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a really powerful approach.
It is.
And I think it can be applied to so many different areas of life.
Whether it's your work, your relationships, your community.
Yeah.
It's all about creating those supportive structures.
It's like that African proverb, right?
What's that?
It takes a village
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
to raise a child.
Yes, and to achieve great things.
Yeah,
We need each other.
we do.
We can't do it alone.
Yeah, and it makes me think the story of Zora Neale Hurston.
Oh, yeah, the writer.
Yeah, she didn't have access to traditional education.
Right.
So she read discarded books in wealthy homes to learn.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing.
It is.
So she found a way to grow
Yeah.
by tapping into her community,
Right.
even if it was unconventional.
And it just shows you how important it is to be resourceful
Yeah,
and to find support wherever you can.
and to never give up on your dreams.
Exactly.
It's interesting. We've been talking about, like, drag is this metaphor.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it, and it's interesting to think about, like, how those ideas apply to our everyday lives, even without the sequins and the feather boas.
Totally. Like, we don't all have to be, walking down a runway.
Right,
Be embracing these concepts.
But we can still think about those masks
Right.
that we wear in everyday life.
Like in our jobs.
Yeah.
Relationships.
With our families, even.
Exactly.
And it's interesting how those masks can be both powerful tools and potential traps, right?
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword.
It is.
On the one hand, they can help us to navigate different situations.
To fit in, to succeed.
To protect ourselves, even.
Yeah, but on the other hand, they can also prevent us from being our true selves
Absolutely.
and from really connecting with others on a deeper level.
And I think the key is to be aware of those masks.
Yeah.
To understand why we're wearing them.
To ask ourselves, like, is this mask serving me?
Right.
Is it helping me to become the best version of myself, or is it holding me back?
Yeah, and if it's holding you back,
Yeah.
then maybe it's time to shed that mask.
Or at least try on a different one. So for our listeners out there, what would be a good way to start experimenting with different masks or personas? You know,
That's a great question.
how can they kind of discover those hidden facets of themselves?
I think it can start with something small,
Okay.
like maybe taking a class in something you've always been curious about,
Hmm.
or joining a group that aligns with your interests.
Or volunteering somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about stepping outside of your comfort zone
Yeah.
in a way that feels safe and exciting.
That feels good.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe for some people it's something bolder,
Yeah.
like speaking up for something you believe in,
Yeah.
or taking a leap of faith in your career or your personal life.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's about challenging yourself to grow,
Yeah.
to explore new possibilities.
And see what you're really capable of.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think the key takeaway from all of this is that you have the power to choose the masks you wear,
Right.
to shape your own identity,
To create a life that's truly fulfilling.
to become the person you were always meant to be.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this question.
Okay.
What mask could you experiment with to unlock a new facet of yourself?
I love that.
Yeah, what role could you play?
Mm-hmm.
What skill could you develop
What boundary could you push?
that might lead you to greater self-awareness, power, and authenticity?
You know, it's an exciting journey.
It is.
And it starts with that first step.
Taking that leap
Yeah, just being willing to explore,
to experiment.
to see what emerges.
And to remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
Find your tribe. Find your community of support.
Your people,
Yeah.
the ones who get you.
Yeah. And lean on them for encouragement and inspiration.
And celebrate each other's successes.
We'd love to hear about your own experiences with self-discovery and transformation.
Yeah.
Share your thoughts and stories with us on our social media channels.
Let's keep this conversation going.
And join us next week for another deep dive into a fascinating topic.
Can't wait.
Until then, stay curious,
Yeah.
stay authentic, and as RuPaul would say, stay fabulous.
Yes.